Welcome Virendra sir and welcome Mr. Venkataraman. These are our esteemed partners right now as we have spoken about future of bank assurance. Mr. Virendra comes from a very good pedigree right now and it's from Bank of Baroda. We are doing an implementation. I would request Mr. Virendra to speak a few words about the implementations that we are doing with Zopper at Bank of Baroda on bank assurance side.
Okay, thank you. A very good evening to all of you. We've been hearing about the challenges and possible opportunities which lie for InsurTech in India. In 2008, Amir Khan produced a movie, some of you would have seen it, Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na, right? And there was a very popular song, Pappu Khan Dance Sala. And if you deeply go into the lyrics of that song, it talks about, Pappu's strengths. So, he's a bachelor, he's muscular and whatever, right? So, he drives a fancy car and whatever. So there are all these strengths, but the problem is he can't dance. On a very similar line, it is said that the elephants also can't dance. So what we are trying to do, and I'm not going to get into the details of the opportunity and what all it is there in terms of India growth for the next 10 years and the wealth management piece, how it will grow. But back home in Bank of Baroda, 10% of the country's population banks with us. So we have about close to 17 crore customers, 8,000 odd branches, 70,000 employees. So we have all the right strengths, to become a large behemoth on not only on banking but even on the wealth side. So now, how do we leverage these strengths and build a wealth management business and insurance at scale? And I think that's where this platform comes into picture. So what we were looking at is a completely, unified platform which can have a very robust back engine and, build on symbiotic relationship between the bank branches, the insurer and our customers. So we've, just to answer this specific question, I think we are in the, middle of, we've already done the first stage launch. But when I look at the overall piece, how we want to build it over the next few months so that we completely leverage the strength which we spoke to are primarily about 4-5 things. Like most organizations, for us also at the core of our strategy is how can we enhance client experience. And I think the platform plays a very important role here because right from the onboarding stage, which is completely digital in the platform, to getting the comparison done across products and then eventually making sure that the policies get issued immediately, the whole journey can be so friction-free, not only for customers, because we are building not only a DIY journey for clients, but most importantly, we have 70,000 employees, like I told you. We are also building an employee-assisted journey for customers. And I think, this single thing, if we do it right, can completely revolutionize the entire internal processes. The gap between, let's say, many of the private sector behemoths and some of the public sector banks is the inefficiency in the system. And I think this single-handedly can just plug out the inefficiency and build smooth experience, not only for our employees, but even for our end users, which are our customers. So that's the first piece in terms of, getting the transaction engine for our clients and our employees, right? The second part of it is claims management. Bulk of the insurance complaints, if you go and ask any insurers, is to do with insurance complaints. This platform just makes the process extremely transparent, user-friendly, and more importantly, works at extremely high speed. The third is, in this era where, the compliance piece is extremely important, I think all the IRDA reporting and all that can be seamlessly filed through the platform, which we will do it in the second stage. The other piece is all our internal MISs. Once we have a very robust back engine where all your policies are stored, all our internal dashboards, all our sales MISs, all, renewal data which is yet to come, all the alerts which can go out to clients, everything can be automated. And the last and the most important piece, today we all talk about data. We all talk about how analytics can help us to drill down customized situations, customized products. So I think the platform also has inbuilt advanced predictive and analytical models, which we can leverage to enable, depending on the client's preferences and behavior, we can have a right product fit, which also enable, more importantly, the right customer fit and the right product engine. And that, to my knowledge, if you look at this whole cohesive, there's a lot of issue in terms of what is the revenues you're getting. So this engine the back office also calculates the entire revenue reconciliation to the T. And hopefully, when we fully launch it in the next few months, we will see this whole piece coming together. And if we execute it right, the entire thing end to end, I can assure you that, Pappu will dance and so will the elephant.
Thank you, sir. Now, I'll call upon Mr. Venkataraman. He's from Equitas Bank. When we, I think, first met, we brainstormed the entire idea of how the bancassurance solution could look like. I remember the first few days sitting in that room discussing the entire solution. So if you could elaborate over how we have gone about the implementation and what are your learnings from it?
So, I'm not going to dwell on what and all we are going to do, but let me tell you, as a small finance bank, we are 7 years old in the industry. I'll tell you the problem statement because I started the distribution for the bank. So, I was probably, we were one of the first few banks which adopted the open architecture as a business model, okay? And when we had open architecture, we never had any great systems in place. And as some of the people spoke, we also had legacy systems because this was an entity with multiple, microfinance, and then you had commercial vehicle, housing finance, multiple units, then merging together as a small finance bank. So there were multiple systems, etc. So I had my own challenges of continuing with open architecture in the initial phase, and I decided to, 3 years down the line, I decided to move out of open architecture. But then our retail franchisee, that is the branch banking franchisee, we started doing extremely well right from the COVID times. And that was a time where we had shaped up our digital sourcing of accounts through the selfie platform. So we had a very interesting, besides the, feet on street model of acquiring accounts, we also had the digital journey which was already built for acquiring CASA accounts. And this was put into complete use during the COVID time. So that's when, some of the ideas that came to our mind is that how do we use, some of these, sources to acquire customers. So one of the things that we did or piloted or we tried was during the COVID time was selling a simple COVID insurance. Sitting, where there was no face-to-face interaction, people were sitting at home and sending one bit.ly link to customer. It was a pre-populated custody ID and everything was already there. And we were able to seamlessly, sell product. And that was a time when anyway customers were also, demand was there, pull was there. Customers were also buying COVID insurance. Sitting, during the lockdown, we were able to sell close to 30,000 odd policies in 15 or maybe less than 30 days of the month. So that's when we felt that, need for some of these sachet products were there and there was a demand in the market for customers, from the customers' end. So as we grew on our liability journey, then there was different problem statements which were coming in. One, of course, we wanted the product-centric approach. We didn't want to just stick with one or two companies. We wanted to choose companies which can offer products that suit our customer base, particularly on the liability franchise. As I speak, we are a 3 million customer base as far as the liability franchise is concerned, besides the asset base, which is another 3 million plus, spread across various asset vertical. So on the liability space, where the focus was on phygital and digital, we tried to, look for some solution which will actually, bring in a very seamless offering to the customers at the, at the branch. We were also, struggling with high attrition. And as we speak today in the industry, attrition anyway continues to be there. So the skill is also an issue. So if I have to sell multiple products to the customers which is there in the branch, then I need to have a solution which where the, the front line does not use their intelligence, but then products are, offered to the customers, through a platform where the suitability is already pre-done and then offered to the customer. Empower the customer to decide what he wants through the quotation that we generate. So this was the whole thought process, aligning with both the regulators' objective from RBI perspective on suitability, which is very critical, and also from IRDA objective. We wanted to create and build a totally compliant model. Ensuring with high attrition, we don't get wrong on the SP coding or all those, basic hygiene stuff which a corporate agent is supposed to be doing. That's when the solution came in. And we decided, last year, as Karan was saying, we decided to, take off in full way, and we were betting very high on this model. So to start with, we took up GI and HI as a proposition, because this is something based on the experience. We thought, it could be very easy to be, brought into the platform and then seamlessly take it forward. And thankfully, these two, set of GI, we work with 3 companies as far as GI is concerned. So all those 3 companies, we were able to very seamlessly onboard in this platform. And what we did was also integrated for motor insurance with Vahan as well. So today, my sales guy in the front end or anybody, they have to just enter the custody. Automatically the KYC gets populated, and then you enter the vehicle ID, the vehicle Vahan fetches all the data, and we have integrated seamlessly with the CRM that we have built in-house and as well as Vahan. And the entire policy journey for a motor insurance, happens very seamlessly, and the certificate of insurance or the motor insurance copy is given to the customer across the table. So I had 2 kinds of acquisition team. One is the NTB, which is new to bank, where the sales guy goes. And then I had a set of customers whom I have acquired over the last 6 years. This is mapped to my relationship managers. And these relationship managers are supposed to be engaging with customers, because they have set of customers who are mapped to them, which is a typical relationship banking model. Now for them, product holding and penetration was very important. That is the only way you could add value to the whole thing. So this solution is now actually helping them to, sit across with the customer. It happens on a mobile. So we have created it, and our data is on the cloud, so everything is on the mobile. Very seamlessly, the policy is issued. The customer also gets to see the quote of 3 companies. He decides which, product he wants, and we are able to issue the policy. We started off with a pilot 2 months back, and as I speak, last month, we have touched around 2,000 NOPs to start with, and very seamless journey, which is getting at the back end. Also, the reverse feed in terms of data flow, everything is very seamless. And if everything goes well, I think this Ganpati Chaturthi, we will go live on the UAT on LI is over. We might probably pilot LI as well. So the whole objective is to offer, product-centric, through this platform, and empower finally the customer to decide. So while this assisted model, this guy will anyway be talking to the customer, but finally allow the customer to decide what he really wants, rather than my guy going and telling, please take only this product. This builds a lot of transparency. Customer-centric approach is something which the core value of my organization, we are trying to make it even more rigid in such a way that there is absolutely no mis-selling or misunderstanding of the product. There is a video-based verification process which we have built with our existing partners as well, which makes the entire LI onboarding also seamless. UAT is on. In fact, we will go on a pilot with one of the companies, and then we are targeting maybe by end of September we should go live. That's the pace in which we are working. Now, what we are also not restricting this InsurTech as just another middleware, which is going to take care of these operational requirements of back-end recon and all those stuff, which anyway is going to be there. But what we are trying to do is that as we are a young bank, we are a 7-year-old bank, and data is anyway there. We want to make it a more intelligent platform in terms of building propensity models, pre-populating this, leads into the CRM. We are working, implementing Microsoft Dynamics as well in our system. So we want to populate, so the customer service person we have multiple channels. We have virtual relationship manager. We have a full-time wealth RMs who are working in the field. Then we have the NTB. Then we have the NR section. There are multiple channels, multiple product side. So when a customer service or an individual goes in, he gets to know what product can be sold to the customer. He is not allowed to sell beyond the product which is defined by the organization, which is done through a propensity model with the existing data. We give them the suitable product to the customer. So this is the whole objective in which we are working, touchwood, I think, we have been lucky because, we have built in this, Motor was the first one which has gone very seamless. We have added, 2-3 sachet products as well, because sachet products, somehow I believe that, when we spoke about penetration, etc., every customer requires, one critical illness or a benefit product like Hospi Cash. These products actually, many people tend to avoid, but then I think there is a need in the market, and this can be sold across to the segment of customers. So this we have already built in, and we are seeing some, good momentum. But in this whole journey, there is one challenge which I think all of us will face, which even we are also facing, is the adoption of the digital journey. Because, while we have built in this application, we have made it very robust, all those things at a, at a HO level or everything we do. But then ensuring that the last mile, the person adopts it completely is a challenge, which all of us will, I think, in the panel also somebody spoke that digitalization is complete one aspect of it, that adoption is a behavioral change, and change is a constant which we need to keep building and harping on. If that is done seamless, I think, the core model of a bank assurance where, FSCs sit in the branch and try to fulfill the documents and everything will go away. With open architecture, with multiple insurance companies coming on board, this platform will allow, individual employees themselves the SP to log in himself and take the entire journey seamlessly and ensure that, the customers are, policy bonds are also issued on time. So I think this is something going to be the future. Whether you like it or not, we need to adopt it. And one challenge in the collaboration that we spoke during the panelist is that I think the insurer side, the platform and the, the end user, all three have to collaborate to ensure the speeden up the, integration. Because the normal process of time, which we are seeing in the process is that it takes 2 to 3 months. And the challenges, as somebody spoke during the day also, every company has got an IT limitation. So there are limited IT resources who are deployed for few things. So this is where the challenge comes, and by the time the implementation happens, the interest or the passion to actually take it, gets reduced. So this is a challenge which I think the industry, all of us, the insurer as well as the corporate agent or the Zopper, all have to sit together and ensure that there is a speeding of this entire solution. It has to be a plug and play. If it is made as a plug and play, I think, that's where it becomes very easy to implement across. So that's my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat. I believe the time's up, but a very quick question on how do you see future of bank assurance shaping up? First you, sir, how do you see the future of bank assurance shaping up, having InsurTech in play? Do you see a major chunk, let's say, getting solved on the distribution side, where, let's say, a selling skill gets outsourced to a platform, and let's say the relationship skill still stays with the distributor? Or you see the pressure coming back on the manufacturer to build customized products? How do you see the future of bank assurance shaping up? Would the pressure be on developing in distribution side, or would it be more from the manufacturer side?
So the pie for insurance as such in the country is only going to increase, and there is enough headroom for all the players, because as we all know, our insurance penetration is hardly anything. So purely from a potential perspective, looking at the insurance density and the penetration opportunity, there is enough and more for all the players to grow. Right? So it is given that every player who's in this space can actually grow in a big room. Now, where I think, as we've seen it in the mutual funds earlier also, I think as the awareness level keeps going up, clients become far more smarter because they are aware of the entire data, they compare competition. I think transparency in terms of, the cost structure, transparency in terms of the whole process, managing their expectations of what insurance is, rather than looking it as a, accidental stuff or a, death stuff. If you can put it in a positive way, that it is a proactive approach to get protection right. That's where. So I think I will answer your question slightly differently. I think the challenge in the industry is about communication, right? I don't think, if I were to just put a parallel to the mutual fund industry, the mutual fund industry has very successfully ran marketing campaigns, right? Mutual fund sahi hai. And they brought down the ticket sizes to as low as 500 rupees can be done. So when you go to these tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, it is now clearly embedded of what mutual fund is. It is sahi hai, it's very positive, and it is, bit size. So I think as a learning from there, the one big challenge for the overall industry is how do you communicate positive facets of insurance rather than looking in negative that only for death or only for accident you need insurance. So I think, that's the first thing, because the moment you position it rightly, then you will have a far more proactive approach and a widespread adoption of that. So that's the first thing. Second is, I think products will eventually evolve and become commoditized. Because at the end of the day, if one insurance company can make the product, it will take very quick time for somebody else to emulate that. The differentiation will be in terms of, like we do in, again, a parallel to investment is, how do you give investment advice? So I think there's a lot more on the distributor side to be on the side of the customer and explain to him that, these are the, various different product sets available and what fits your need, right? Because eventually the platforms are going to make the whole distribution piece democratized. So what was a privilege to the rich and ultra HNI fews will now be available to everybody in villages and towns and cities, right? But like I said, what makes differentiation is how do you communicate and what is the reach in which you can, be on the client side and explain to him. I think that will probably make the adoption much faster.
Thanks for that. Venkat, your take on that? How do you see future of bank insurance evolving?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because, see, the way now the regulator has opened up, 9 partners in life, GI and HI, while Sahi players still we don't have 9, but then, the way he has opened up, I think it's going to, eventually down the line, it is going to become like an AMC business where it will be product-centric approach and not a company-centric approach, because every organization is having different kinds of customer segments. So a customer segment in HNI segment that would require a product may not be available with 1 or 2 insurers, so you will have to look at it. Similarly, rural markets require products which today many companies are going out of that segment. So we need products concentrated in certain markets. So I think this new model will help only to identify products and curate products for the segments and eventually build the penetration that the regulator is wanting. So I think, it's a matter of time where it will be product-centric approach, just like we pick up SIPs in mutual funds or AMCs based on, certain funds. I think this will also become maybe down the line a model which will evolve, I guess. And technology is definitely going to be a game changer for us.
Thanks to both of you. Thanks to both of you, gentlemen. I think we can wrap this session.
Thank you.